Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back. Thank you for joining us. We are very glad that you're here. I'm Steve,
And I'm Scott.
and together we're Backyard Musing Science and Technology channel.
Yeah, and today we're talking about a topic that is kind of near and dear to my heart. This is a passion that I have. I'm an avid fisherman for the elusive trout. I don't get into some of these other species that we're going to be talking about today, but this is kind of interesting. Caught my attention, and yeah, let's talk about it. Get into it. I'm sure there's a lot of other people out there that this will interest as well. I hope.
Darkening waters are slowing fish growth and shifting species balance, favoring fish that rely less on vision. Ecosystems and fishing patterns are changing as a result. Darkening waters, it seems like brackish water, like pond water or something, doesn't it? Sound like
Well,
that?
yeah, I mean, if you're
If you got a running stream or a running river that has a current, I don't see how it could get dark.
Well, I mean, there's conditions that'll change that. Obviously, when it rains, if it'll stir up the water, make it muddy and murky and stuff.
Yeah.
Obviously, the fish survive that. They're able to adapt to that for a reasonable amount of time. But I think over a long term, let's say if there's a spill, some type of toxic spill in the water, that obviously is not going to be good. I mean, we've seen that on large scale, right, in the ocean. And it happened in where, Ohio or Pennsylvania or something a few years ago when a train derailed right next to a stream.
Yeah,
And that's kind of,
Ohio, wasn't
yeah,
it?
that's kind of,
Or Pennsylvania.
I think it was Pennsylvania, and that's kind of common, right? Trains seem to follow, especially in rural areas. Trains seem to follow. They're in canyons, they're near waterways, or
Because
alongside lakes.
it cuts a channel through the canyon. So
Yeah, it's kind of a automatic. That's where you're going to
natural. Yeah.
track. So, but again, you have the issue of if there's a derailment, and I think it happens more than we even realize. I mean, obviously, there's certain areas that talk about it more, like it starts affecting water and that are supplying water to towns and cities. But I think it happens a lot more than, like, I just, not to get off on a sidebar, but there's a train tracks that runs through Tehachapi up over the Southern Sierra there in Tehachapi.
Oh yeah, I'm familiar with it. Yeah.
That train, and that I saw a report the other day that train is almost constantly derailing in certain areas. They have problems all the time there. Yeah, I had no idea. You think, I mean, come on, this, the 21st century, trains should be pretty secure, but I guess they derail a lot. But anyway, getting back on this thing, the pond issue is, or the water issue is, it could change, and obviously the fish are going to either adapt or they're going to die, right?
Yeah.
So, but
Okay, ecosystems are fishing patterns are changing as a result. Freshwater ecosystems across northern regions are gradually darkening, a shift linked to changing climate and land chemistry that is subtly reshaping aquatic life. As visibility declines, fish growth and population dynamics are altered, favoring species with sensory or visual adaptations suited to murkier conditions. Would you fishermen like to know more?
okay, the lakes, streams, and ponds you visited for years are likely looking more brown than they used to. And I think I told you that before we started taping it. I have not noticed that, but there are, obviously, I don't fish all over the country, so. And people who are fishing those waters are likely catching different species and sizes of fish than in the past. The research has identified a link between those two developments, which means that trout, bass, perch, and whitefish may become less common in unstocked lakes, but pike and walleye anglers may be in for a trophy-size surprise. So
all of these fish are in Michigan. Every single one of them that's mentioned here.
Okay.
Yeah. Just saying that, Scott.
I know.
In the past several decades, across much of northeastern North America and northern Europe, many freshwater ecosystems are getting darker and they're changing in other ways as a result. The specific phenomena of darkening water called freshwater browning is driven, that's a racist remark.
That's, racist or kind of, I don't know. They could have used freshwater number 2. Maybe they could.
Fish racist, alternate freshwater.
Okay.
is driven by a few factors. Among the reasons are climate change, the effects of the ice age, as higher temperatures and increased runoff are combining to increase the amount and types of carbon compounds that move from soil and land into bodies of water.
Similarly, as people have taken steps to reduce acidic emissions coming from smokestacks and other sources, less acid has fallen as precipitation, changing the chemistry of soils. Again, I think that leans kind of like towards the climate change thing that you were just talking about. Those chemical changes are also increasing the flow of carbon to bodies of water.
Higher levels of carbon make water look brown because it's basically dissolved plant matter that stains the water like tea leaves would. It's harder to see in browner water, so it makes it harder for fish to locate prey, escape from predators, and find suitable habitat to live in.
The recent study combined a review of past research with some new analysis to examine how different kinds of fish do in darker water. Working with a large team of experts, I'd like to see who those experts were, we tallied findings from previous studies that look like at the relationship between the darkness of a body of water and fish growth rates in that same body of water.
The authors found that in browner waters, fish often grow more slowly. The decreased growth rate in individual fish appears to reduce the population sizes of these fish, which may, in turn, change the quantities and proportions of different kinds of fish in a lake.
But freshwater browning doesn't affect all species of fish equally. Unsurprisingly, we found that vision appeared to be quite different or quite important for navigating browner waters. That makes sense, right? When we studied fish communities in 303 Canadian lakes, we found that in lakes with darker water, fish species with larger eyes were more common.
That's interesting.
Mr. Limpet.
Mr. Limpet. When you look at data on populations of 8 economically important fish in 871 lakes across North America and Europe, we found that browning was associated with smaller populations of several species, including lake trout, lake whitefish, yellow perch, largemouth bass, and smallmouth bass. Brook trout abundance was not affected by freshwater browning.
See, that's crazy. Why were they not affected?
Well, the brook, I guess it just keeps flowing. It's got that current. So it washes away the brown matter, the tea leaf stuff.
Well, there are brook trout in lakes, though. Anyway.
Oh, okay. All right. Well,
browning was associated with larger populations of northern pike and walleye. We believe that's because walleye, for example, have a specialized retina, that helps them see in browner waters and poorer visibility. Similarly, pike have a well-developed lateral line sensory system that allows them to sense vibration, movement, and pressure changes in the water. Well, they are vicious, right?
Yeah, pike, they've got teeth, man.
They are predator fish, man. I mean, I know a lot of fish eat fish.
They got teeth.
But they're like the barracuda of fresh water. They're mean. Okay.
People fishing in browner lakes may consider appealing to the senses of the fish that are likely to be in the water. For example, rather than using colorful and shiny lures to attract their visual attention, when fishing in darker water, consider using vibrating lures that a fish's lateral line system can detect, or scented lures that trigger an olfactory response, and use a wire jig in case that pike comes along, because if you use a normal test line, it'll cut through that easily.
Yep. By examining what's happening to the water and in it, both scientists and people who enjoy fishing can understand the changes we're seeing and what they mean in practical terms.
All right.
I don't think any of us need to get excited about this. It just...
Scott is the expert, so I'm going to...
I am not an expert. I'm not an expert, but, if I went to the same pond every day and I noticed that it was browner, I would say something's wrong. But
see, that's the thing. Going every day, you're not going to notice that. If you go 2 years later,
exactly,
you probably notice.
Exactly. And I have fished spots where I haven't been for several months or years, or at least sometimes a year, and depending on the season, and not really notice that much difference. But again, I'm talking about 2 specific spots that I fish: the waters of California and specific waters in the state of Utah. So I haven't really fished anywhere else.
Undisclosed
Wyoming.
locations, because Scott's not giving up his fishing hole.
Yeah, I don't care if the water's brown or not, just as long as it doesn't smell. That's if it's not smelling, I don't care how brown it gets. So anyway, let us know how you feel.
See you tomorrow.
Take care, everyone. Thanks.